Mortimer's Christmas Manger. In a big house lived a wee mouse named Mortimer. He dwelt in the dark hole under the stairs. Nobody ever noticed little Mortimer Mouse, and Mortimer liked it that way, but he didn't like his hole. It's too cold, it's too cramped, it's too creepy, squeaked Mortimer. Each day he snuck out and crept about looking for crumbs and tidbits. One day, Mortimer spied something new, and what he spied was wonderful. He saw a huge tree covered with twinkling lights. Nestled on top was a bright shining star. But something even better than the tree itself sat next to it on the table. Mortimer sighed with delight. A house just my size. But in the house, it was so high and Mortimer was so low. I'll climb up a tree, said Mortimer. It makes a perfect ladder for a mouse. Up, 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 Mortimer climbed. Down, down, down. The Christmas tree ornaments fell. Finally, he reached the table. Perfect, said Mortimer. Not too cold, not too cramped, not creepy. Very cozy. But who are you? He's found the family's manger scene. Thinks it's a house just right for him. Mortimer had never seen people so small, almost as small as himself, and he'd never seen such strange animals either. Tap, tap, tap. Mortimer knocked at the door, but nobody answered. Tap, tap, tap. No one moved an inch. I see, Mortimer squeaked. You aren't real. You're just little statues. And so Mortimer lugged and Mortimer tugged, and one by one he dragged all the statues out of the house. When he reached the smallest statue, he saw that it was a baby in a wooden bed, just Mortimer's size. There's no room for you here, Mortimer said. Out you go. Then into the bed Mortimer climbed and fell fast asleep on the soft, warm hay. The next day, as Mortimer crept about, he found good things to eat, cookie crumbs, fruitcake morsels, and spicy peppermint candy. But when Mortimer scampered back to his new home, the statues were all set up again. Oh, no, 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 squeaked Mortimer. This won't do. There's no room for me. And so Mortimer lugged and tugged until all the statues were out. And you stay out, he says. Then into bed crawled Mortimer. He fell fast asleep in the warm, soft hay. But each day while Mortimer scurried about, the statues got set up again. And Mortimer always lugged and tugged them back out. But one day, Mortimer set out and saw the big people were all gathered around the tree. He couldn't go out there, so he just hid among the statues, and a man started talking. Mortimer listened, and what he heard was wonderful. Since it is Christmas Eve, I shall tell the Christmas story, said a man. A long time ago, in the little town called Bethlehem, Mortimer heard about people named Joseph and Mary and a bright shining star. He heard about shepherds watching their flocks by night and some traveling wise men. The man continued, and there was no room for them at the inn. Then Mortimer heard about the baby. A baby who was born in a stable and had no real bed, but slept in a wooden manger. A baby born to save the world. And his name shall be called Jesus, said the man. Mortimer looked at the bright shining star on the tree. He looked at his new home and his new bed. He looked again at all the statues. Last of all, he looked at the baby. I see, sighed Mortimer. You aren't just any statue. You are a statue of Jesus. Mortimer sniffed and Mortimer snuffled, and a tear rolled down his furry cheek. There was no room for you at the inn, but I know where there is room, he said. And so Mortimer lugged and Mortimer tugged, and soon he dragged all the statues right back to where they belonged. Last of all, he laid the baby in the manger. This belongs to you, he said. Mortimer smiled. You look warm and cozy now. There was no place for Mortimer to go except back to his cold, cramped, creepy little hole, and as Mortimer scuttled around the tree, he said a prayer. Jesus, you were born to save the world. Perhaps you could bring me a little home. And then Mortimer saw something new. Something that he saw was wonderful. Mortimer sighed with delight. It's a house just my size, and there were no statues in sight. So Mortimer moved right in. Thank you, Jesus, said Mortimer. You have made room for me, too. It's a gingerbread house. The end. Merry Christmas, everyone.